It all started on a stormy Tuesday morning when Michael boarded his flight from Los Angeles to Chicago. As the engines roared to life, he noticed a man seated 2 rows ahead, motionless, staring out the window. The sight seemed ordinary, until their eyes met for an instant that felt too long, an instant that burned into his memory. Hours later, turbulence rocked the cabin, and among the gasps and rattling trays, Michael glanced forward again. The same man hadn't moved an inch, still fixed on the window, expression blank, skin pale under the dim cabin lights. There was something almost inhuman about his stillness, like a mannequin placed among real passengers. After landing, Michael brushed it off as travel fatigue. But when he boarded a connecting flight to New York a week later, his blood turned cold, because the same man was there again, seated in the exact same position, right by the window. It wasn't just resemblance, it was him, identical clothes, identical posture, as if frozen in time. Michael tried to reason. It could be coincidence, perhaps identical twins, or a trick of memory. But he couldn't shake the dread that the universe was replaying something, a scene stuck in a loop. He discreetly asked the flight attendant if she noticed the man, but her blank confusion only deepened his fear. During meal service, Michael kept watching, hoping for any sign of normalcy, a stretch, a sip, a blink. Yet the stranger remained still, head slightly tilted to the glass, like watching clouds that weren't there. The air around him seemed slightly thicker, a shimmer that set each hair on Michael's arm standing upright. After landing, Michael decided to follow him, but the stranger vanished the moment passengers reached the terminal. No trace, no bag, no footsteps fading into the crowd. Only a faint scent of cold air where he had been sitting, a scent that seemed more like static than perfume. Curiosity became obsession. Michael started documenting his flights, photographing passengers for reassurance. Yet on his 3rd trip, Denver to Seattle, the impossible happened. The same stranger appeared once again, 3 seats ahead, exact clothes, exact stillness, same chilling air radiating from his seat. Michael's pulse pounded as he fumbled for his phone, trying to capture this living paradox. The man seemed aware, yet didn't turn. Instead, the window reflection showed something haunting. His reflection wasn't there. Only Michael's face appeared in the smooth glass, as though the stranger didn't exist in that dimension. Desperate for proof, Michael whispered to the passenger beside him, describing the man in detail. But when the woman glanced forward, confusion washed over her. She claimed there was no one in that seat. Michael froze, his throat drying up, as his mind split between what his eyes saw and what reality denied. The plane hit another patch of turbulence, and the cabin lights briefly dimmed. In that flickering moment, Michael swore the stranger turned his head slightly, not toward him but toward the viewer in the reflection, the faintest of movements that sent a chill crawling down his spine. Then everything reset, calm again. He pressed the call button, demanding to confirm the seat's occupancy. The attendant hesitated, checking the passenger list. Seat 14A was listed as empty. Michael felt his stomach twist, cold sweat forming on his palms. Yet he could see the man, immobile, unmistakably there. The flight continued as though nothing was wrong. Outside, lightning illuminated the clouds, throwing ghostly light across the cabin. For each flash, Michael saw subtle distortions, like the stranger's figure flickering between existence and nothingness, a glitch frozen between 2 realities. After landing, Michael recorded a voice memo detailing every moment, every sighting, afraid that evidence might slip away like smoke. He tried searching online, typing "same stranger" on flights and variations that made him feel insane. To his horror, hundreds of similar stories surfaced. In posts and forums, travelers described the same tall man, dark gray coat, emotionless stare, and a name tag with a faded airline logo no one recognized. They all recalled the same scent, cold air and static electricity. The digital threads felt like fragments of a glitch reading its victims. Michael reached out to one poster who had claimed to see the man thrice. The person's last reply was a chilling voicemail, static, then a whisper, "He sits by the window." After that, the account was deleted, profile erased, every trace missing as if its maker had never existed at all. Sleepless and shaken, Michael began noticing him outside air travel, on billboards, in mirrored storefronts, even in old photographs his parents had taken years ago. Each time, the man stood in the background, same distance from the lens, always watching the scene beyond him. At night, the hum of a passing airplane made him shiver. He started hearing faint tones and static noise, radio hums that formed almost human rhythms. He felt as if something was tuning him, aligning him to the same frequency as that unblinking, impossible man. Michael decided to test reality itself. He booked 3 different flights, on 3 consecutive days, each from a different airport. It didn't matter where they went, he needed answers more than destinations. As fate or something else would have it, the same window seat, row 14, remained open every time. The first flight, the seat was empty. Relief poured through him, shaky but real. But midair, during the beverage service, Michael blinked, and suddenly there he was, the stranger, quietly in that seat as if he had materialized mid-flight. Passengers nearby didn't flinch, didn't see, didn't know. Michael's breath quickened. The stranger finally turned toward him for the first time, and Michael saw his own face reflected in that pale visage, older, drained, and hollow. In that instant, every sound in the plane dimmed, like the world holding its breath at the edge of collapse. When the plane landed, Michael sat frozen as passengers disembarked around him. The stranger stood, turned toward the window, and walked through it, effortlessly, fading into daylight like dust dissolving in sunlight. A flight attendant tapped Michael's shoulder, asking if he was okay. Days passed and Michael couldn't sleep. His mirror occasionally showed faint outlines behind him, seated by a window that didn't exist. Every flight on his record now listed strange errors, dates duplicated, seat numbers missing, flights logged at impossible times. He went to an aviation authority to verify his travel history. The official looked puzzled. 2 of his listed flights never took off, one was cancelled days earlier, and another was recorded under a different passenger name, one identical to the man he'd been seeing. Michael's sanity began dissolving. The world felt slightly slower, movements carried echo-like delays. On his phone, photos distorted whenever he zoomed in near an airplane, tearing at the pixels like digital scar tissue. He reached out to a friend working in data analysis, who ran his flight records through an airline database. Hidden under his initials was an encrypted note simply repeating, window seat. Row 14. Every attempt to delete it duplicated the message instead. A final email arrived from an unknown sender with coordinates to an old airstrip in Nevada. Desperate, Michael drove there under moonlight, the desert air sharp and electric. At the end of the cracked runway sat a single aircraft, abandoned, lights flickering like a heartbeat. Climbed aboard, dust swirling through the stale cabin air. The layout was identical to his previous flights, right down to the stains on the leather headrests. He approached seat 14A, trembling, the same chill seeping into his bones as though reality itself grew colder nearby. In the seat sat the stranger, now unmistakably Michael's double, eyes hollow, lips moving without sound. The world dimmed, colors drained away. Then, as Michael reached out, static filled his ears and the cabin lights exploded into white silence. When consciousness returned, he was back in his apartment, suitcase unpacked, phone flashing unheard notifications. Every flight record had vanished from his inbox. But out his window, across the street, a man sat by another window, watching him. Same posture. Same eyes. Michael reported his experiences online again, trying to warn others. Most dismissed him, though a few claimed they knew the feeling, that momentary flicker in air travel when something feels slightly rewound, slightly altered, slightly wrong. Weeks later, new viral photos appeared across forums, passengers showing reflections in their window seats that didn't match their faces. Each linked back to an anonymous uploader with Michael's initials and a profile photo of the vacant row 14A seat. Experts speculated quantum errors, data glitches, mass hypnosis, each explanation more ludicrous than the last. Yet every aviation log that month showed multiple empty seats booked under the same ID, departing from airports in different cities at the same time. Now, many travelers claim they occasionally spot him mid-flight, a silent watcher by the window, only visible in reflection. Some say if he looks back, your reflection fades for a split second, replaced by nothing but clouds and static haze. The FAA denies it, of course, labeling these stories as internet hoaxes. Yet pilots whisper off record that certain rows are no longer sold, quietly marked unavailable, and their systems automatically skip those seat numbers as if trying to ignore a ghost. So, next time you board a flight, glance down the aisle before takeoff, toward the windows, past the reflections. And if your gaze meets a face that doesn't belong, someone who never blinks, never moves, remember this story, and ask yourself if you are the one repeating the loop. Because somewhere over the clouds, perhaps right now, the same man is staring out a fogged window, waiting for another traveler to notice. Waiting for someone who remembers. waiting for the next flight that resets the glitch all over again.